Hello everyone, and thank you for visiting our channel. Today, we'll be delving into the lives of talented actors who left us too soon, often without us even realizing it. From Hollywood icons to rising stars, these individuals made significant contributions to the world of entertainment before their untimely passing. Before we begin, we ask for your support. If this video or their legacy has touched your life, please like it as a sign of respect. Thank you. Now let's begin.
Moving in over at the Harper's old place.
Oh yeah? That's good. Maybe they'll be quieter than the Harpers.
George Wendt was a beloved American actor, best known for his iconic role as Norm Peterson on the long-running NBC sitcom Cheers. Born on October 17, 1948 in Chicago, Illinois, Wendt's journey in entertainment began with the legendary Second City comedy troupe, laying the foundation for a career defined by warmth, humor, and resilience. Wendt became a household name through Cheers, where he played the affable bar regular for all 11 seasons from 1982 to 1993. His portrayal earned him 6 consecutive primetime Emmy nominations and cemented Norm's place in TV history with the unforgettable entrance line, "Norm." Even after the show ended, Wendt continued to bring Norm to life in spin-offs and guest appearances, while expanding his repertoire in television and film. Tragically, Wendt passed away on May 17, 2025, at the age of 76. According to his death certificate confirmed by TMZ and his longtime publicist, Melissa Nathan, the cause was cardiac arrest with underlying conditions including congestive heart failure, coronary artery disease, and end-stage renal disease. He died peacefully in his sleep. Despite health challenges in his final years, Wendt remained active, making heartfelt appearances alongside his nephew Jason Sudeikis, including a touching reunion on the podcast Where Everybody Knows Your Name. Beyond his screen legacy, Wendt was a devoted husband and father, remembered by colleagues like Ted Danson and Rhea Perlman as the sweetest, kindest man. At the time of his passing, his net worth was estimated at $10 million, a testament to decades of consistent, endearing work. George Wendt's gentle spirit and comedic brilliance will be missed, but never forgotten.
They started calling me, and I had heard that they were going to do this.
James Arness was a towering figure in American television history, born on May 26, 1923, in Minneapolis, Minnesota. A decorated World War II veteran who was wounded in combat and awarded the Purple Heart, Arness carried his quiet strength from the battlefield to the screen. He rose to fame portraying Marshal Matt Dillon in the iconic Western series Gunsmoke, a role he inhabited with unwavering dedication for an astounding 20 years. His presence defined the show's tone and character, appearing in nearly every one of its 635 episodes, a record-setting feat in primetime television. Arness's portrayal of Dillon captured the hearts of generations, making him a symbol of integrity and resilience. But behind the scenes, he faced significant personal and physical challenges. In the later seasons of Gunsmoke, he suffered from debilitating arthritis that affected his mobility. To accommodate his condition, producers rescheduled all his scenes to be filmed on a single day each week, allowing him time to recover, a testament to his commitment to the craft. Beyond the screen, Arness was known for his humility and professionalism, even resolving a tense early conflict with co-star Milburn Stone through honesty and grace. This turning point helped transform a strained working relationship into a lifelong friendship that contributed to the show's enduring legacy. Tragically, James Arness passed away peacefully at his home in Los Angeles on June 3, 2011, at the age of 88. His death was confirmed by his longtime business manager. At the time of his passing, his net worth was estimated at $8 million, a reflection of both his success and his loyalty to a single iconic role. James Arness leaves behind a legacy of steadfast performance, personal courage, and a character that defined a golden era of American television.
use TV as a platform, as a force for good.
Breaking news. From potato sack dresses to billion-dollar empathy, the story of Oprah Winfrey will leave you speechless. Oprah Winfrey's life is more than just a tale of success. It is a profound reminder that our beginnings do not define our destinies. She was not born into fame or fortune, but into hardship so deep that, as a child, she wore dresses sewn from potato sacks and bathed in a tin tub on the back porch. And yet, she became a global icon, a billionaire media mogul, and most importantly, a symbol of hope for millions. Before we begin this unforgettable story, take a moment and reflect. Has Oprah ever moved you with her honesty, her strength, or her vision? Share your memories in the comments below. We would love to hear your story too. Born on January 29, 1954, in the small rural town of Kosciuszko, Mississippi, Oprah's earliest years were marked by poverty and instability. Raised by her grandmother in a house without running water, she was taught to read before the age of 3 and recited Bible verses at the local church. But her childhood soon took a dark turn. At just 9 years old, she began to suffer repeated abuse by relatives and trusted adults. The trauma of those years left her emotionally scarred, and by the time she was 14, she had run away from home and given birth to a baby boy who tragically died just weeks later. These devastating moments could have shattered her spirit permanently. But something deep inside Oprah refused to give up. When she was sent to live with her father in Nashville, her life found its first semblance of structure. Her father demanded academic excellence and gave her the safety she never had. Oprah thrived in school, winning public speaking competitions and finding strength in her voice. At 17, she landed her first job in media, reading the news part-time for a local radio station. By 19, she became the first black female news anchor at Nashville's WLAC TV. But even then, she sensed she was meant for something more personal, more transformative. Her breakthrough came in Baltimore, where she was hired to co-host a local talk show called People Are Talking. It wasn't a prestigious role, but it was the perfect fit. Her natural warmth, her emotional depth, and her empathy for others made her shine in front of the camera. She wasn't just asking questions, she was connecting, deeply and authentically. That connection caught the attention of producers in Chicago, and in 1984, she took over a struggling morning show. Within months, it became the city's top-rated program. 2 years later, the Oprah Winfrey Show launched nationally. What followed was not just one of the most successful talk shows in American television history, but a cultural shift in how we talked about trauma, healing, and truth. Over 25 seasons, Oprah interviewed presidents, movie stars, survivors, and everyday heroes. Her ability to listen with compassion and lead with vulnerability changed the genre. She cried on camera, laughed with abandon, and asked the questions others feared to ask. But behind the scenes, she was also building a media empire. She founded Harpo Productions, becoming one of the first women in television to own her own content. She launched O, the Oprah magazine, created a book club that turned authors into bestsellers overnight, and invested wisely in brands she believed in. One of her most lucrative moves was purchasing a stake in Weight Watchers. After joining as a spokesperson in 2015, she made headlines by earning $75 million in a single day thanks to a stock surge. Her total estimated net worth as of 2025 stands at an astonishing $4 billion, all self-made. That figure places her not only among the richest women in entertainment, but as a standout in the broader financial world, where generational wealth is often the rule. Oprah built her empire from scratch, powered by empathy, intelligence, and grit. But the road wasn't without stumbles. In 2011, Oprah launched the Oprah Winfrey Network, OWN, with great anticipation. Yet the early years were rocky. Ratings were low, criticism was harsh, and even Oprah herself admitted she came close to a breakdown. It was a rare moment of public vulnerability, from a woman who seemed invincible. But true to form, she didn't retreat. She restructured, realigned the network's mission with her values, and gradually turned OWN into a respected platform for storytelling, especially for underrepresented voices. Throughout her career, Oprah's most powerful impact may not be found on screen or in her bank account, but in her humanitarian work. She has given hundreds of millions to causes focused on education, women's rights, and community healing. In 2007, she opened the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls in South Africa, a school that continues to shape the lives of young women who call her a mother figure. She was a major donor to the Smithsonian's National Museum of African American History and Culture, and in response to disasters like the 2023 Maui wildfires, she co-founded a fund that provided direct relief to victims. In her personal life, Oprah has chosen authenticity over convention. Though she never married or had children, her decades-long partnership with Stedman Graham is one of quiet strength and mutual respect. Her friendship with Gayle King is the stuff of legend, a bond rooted in honesty, laughter, and loyalty. Oprah has always said that family is not just about blood, but about intention, connection, and shared purpose. And she has lived that truth with grace. In recent years, Oprah has continued to influence culture in powerful ways. Her 2021 interview with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle became a global event, with over 17 million viewers and unforgettable questions that sparked worldwide conversations. Her sit-down with Adele was equally memorable, blending music and meaning in a way only Oprah can. Even in her 60s and now 70s, she remains a touchstone, wise, curious, and unafraid to evolve. Through health scares, professional challenges, and the constant scrutiny of fame, Oprah has held on to her core values: dignity, generosity, truth. Her legacy is not just what she has built, but how she has chosen to lead. She has shown us that power does not have to be loud, that success does not require the sacrifice of soul, and that healing, real, lasting healing, is possible when we tell our stories with courage. So now, we turn to you. Has Oprah ever helped you see yourself differently? Have her words, her shows, or her strength carried you through a hard time? We would be honored to read your story in the comments. And if you believe stories like these matter, stories of resilience, of impact, of purpose, please consider subscribing to our channel. Because every life that lifts others is a story worth remembering. And Oprah's, without question, is unforgettable.
Wander around the Evanston Library, and then I would visit my father every summer, all summer.
Edmund White was a groundbreaking American novelist, essayist, and cultural critic born in 1940 in Ohio and raised in Illinois. Renowned for his fearless exploration of gay identity and desire, White's work reshaped American literature and redefined the boundaries of LGBTQ+ storytelling. His semi-autobiographical novel, A Boy's Own Story, became a landmark in queer literature, while his candid co-authorship of The Joy of Gay Sex broke taboos and gave generations of gay men a language for their lives. Tragically, White passed away on June 3, 2025, at the age of 85, after experiencing symptoms of a stomach illness while waiting for an ambulance. His death was confirmed by his longtime agent, Bill Clegg. White lived a life both radical and reflective. Diagnosed HIV positive in 1984, he survived far beyond the expectations of that time, channeling his experience into works of fiction and memoir marked by tenderness, wit, and brutal honesty. Over his prolific career, he published more than 30 books, including acclaimed biographies of Jean Genet, Marcel Proust, and Arthur Rimbaud, and served as a professor at Princeton University. A fierce intellect with a generous spirit, White's legacy includes literary prizes named in his honor and a new generation of queer writers who view him as a patron saint of truth. His final memoir, The Loves of My Life, published in 2025, stands as a poignant farewell to a life lived vividly, courageously, and without apology.
Sounds like a good thing in football, right? Maybe in a vacuum, but not in terms of having a long...
John Brenkus was a pioneering television host, producer, and entrepreneur, best known for bringing science to the heart of sports through the Emmy Award-winning series Sports Science. Born with a passion for both athletics and innovation, Brenkus combined cutting-edge technology with human performance, helping viewers understand the physics behind every hit, throw, and sprint. Over nearly 1,800 segments, he became a trusted voice who educated and entertained millions. Tragically, Brenkus passed away by suicide on May 31, 2025, at the age of 54. His death was confirmed by the Virginia Department of Health's Office of the Chief Medical Examiner. A statement from his family revealed he had been battling depression, a struggle he had spoken about publicly in the past. After selling sports science to ESPN, Brenkus shared that he fell into a deep depression, even contemplating suicide. In one harrowing moment, it was his dog, Zeppelin, who saved his life. Brenkus later sought help from 6 different mental health professionals and began his journey of recovery, becoming an advocate for mental health awareness. Beyond television, he co-founded Base Productions and Brinks.tv, and most recently produced the George X Show podcast. His work earned him both critical acclaim and financial success, with an estimated net worth of $10 million at the time of his passing. John Brenkus leaves behind a legacy of curiosity, creativity, and courage, a reminder that even those who illuminate the world may silently fight battles of their own.
Joe, do you know what I have in my locket? Not just hair, it's your hair.
Valerie Mahaffey was a gifted American actress, celebrated for her poignant performances on both stage and screen. Born in Indonesia and raised across several continents, her early life was shaped by movement and adaptability, traits that would serve her well in a 5-decade-long acting career. She first gained national attention on the NBC soap The Doctors, earning a Daytime Emmy nomination in 1980. But it was her role as Eve in Northern Exposure that brought her the 1992 Primetime Emmy for Outstanding Supporting Actress. Mahaffey's versatility shone in roles on Desperate Housewives, Young Sheldon, and Dead to Me, where her characters often blended elegance with emotional complexity. Tragically, Valerie Mahaffey passed away on May 30, 2025, at the age of 71, after a quiet but courageous battle with cancer. Her publicist, Jillian Roscoe, confirmed her death. In her final years, she continued to work in film and television, even earning an Independent Spirit Award nomination for French Exit in 2020. Mahaffey was married to actor Joseph Kell, and their daughter Alice lovingly remembered her in a heartfelt message. "I'll look for you in all the fun moments of life." Her net worth at the time of her passing was estimated at $1 million, a reflection not of extravagance, but of a steady, devoted career built on integrity and passion. Valerie Mahaffey leaves behind a legacy of quiet strength, luminous artistry, and characters that will remain in the hearts of audiences for generations.
But we were working so hard. We did about 36 the first year and 34 the second year, and then in
Richard Chamberlain was a beloved American actor born on March 31, 1934, in Beverly Hills, California. His rise to fame began with his iconic portrayal of Dr. James Kildare in the 1960s TV series Dr. Kildare, a role that earned him a Golden Globe and the adoration of audiences worldwide. Chamberlain later cemented his place in television history as the king of the miniseries, starring in landmark productions such as Shogun and The Thornbirds, both of which brought him further Golden Globe recognition. Over the course of 5 decades, Chamberlain also took on powerful roles in film and theater, portraying historical figures from Julius Caesar to Jason Bourne. Despite his fame, he faced personal battles, notably keeping his sexuality private for much of his career due to fears of industry backlash. In 2003, he bravely came out in his memoir, Shattered Love, marking a deeply emotional turning point in his life. Tragically, Richard Chamberlain passed away on March 29, 2025, at the age of 90, from complications following a stroke at his home in Hawaii. His longtime partner, Martin Rabbit, confirmed the heartbreaking news, remembering him as an amazing and loving soul. At the time of his passing, Chamberlain's net worth was estimated at $25 million. His legacy endures not only in his unforgettable performances, but also in his quiet courage and authenticity. He remains a symbol of elegance, resilience, and the enduring power of storytelling.
You all listen to that pissmeyer Arthur Bucco. He was the worst of the bunch, I told you that. Audience arrest.
Charlie Scalise was a beloved American character actor born on July 19, 1940, in South Philadelphia. Known for his rugged charm and unmistakable voice, he captured hearts through unforgettable performances in iconic TV dramas like The Wire and The Sopranos. His role as Thomas Horseface Pacusa in Season 2 of The Wire became a standout, portraying a tough yet deeply loyal longshoreman entangled in the moral gray zones of dockside crime. Years later, his poignant appearance as Coach Molinaro in The Sopranos left a haunting impression as he confronted Tony Soprano in a dream sequence. Tragically, Scalise passed away on May 1, 2025, at the age of 84 in Phoenixville, Pennsylvania, after a long battle with Alzheimer's disease. His death was confirmed by his daughter, Anne Marie, who shared the family's sorrow and memories of a man who never stopped performing, whether on stage, screen, or around the family dinner table. Scalise began his career late in life, returning to acting after years in the corporate world. He brought warmth and humor to theater roles like Neasley Nicely Johnson in Guys and Dolls and the Cowardly Lion in The Wizard of Oz. Beyond acting, he ventured into writing with a screenplay inspired by his father's pool hall titled It Takes Balls. He is survived by his wife of 62 years, Angeline, their children, and grandchildren. Though no formal wealth was disclosed, his richest legacy lies in the characters he brought to life and the love he shared offstage.
I knew all her innermost secrets. You see that nice, fresh look?
Ruth Buzzi was a beloved American comedian and actress, born on July 24, 1936, in Westerly, Rhode Island. Known for her expressive face, impeccable timing, and singular comic energy, she became a household name in the late 1960s through her iconic role as Gladys Ormsby on Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In. With her scowling stare, hairnet bun, and trusty handbag, Buzzi's Gladys stood up to chauvinism with physical comedy that was both hilarious and quietly revolutionary. She was the only cast member to appear in all 6 seasons of the hit series, earning her a Golden Globe and multiple Emmy nominations. Over a 6-decade career, Ruth dazzled in roles ranging from Sesame Street to Freaky Friday and voiced characters in beloved cartoons like the Smurfs and Pound Puppies. But behind the laughter, Ruth faced a devastating private battle. After retiring in 2021, she suffered several strokes and was later diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. She passed away peacefully in her sleep on May 1, 2025, at her home in Texas. Her death was confirmed by her agent, Mike Eisenstadt. Despite declining health, Ruth continued to bring joy through social media, where her wit remained razor-sharp. She spent her final years on a 640-acre ranch with her husband, Kent Perkins, who remained her greatest supporter. Ruth Buzzi leaves behind a legacy of strength, resilience, and joy, a true pioneer for women in comedy whose unforgettable characters will live on for generations.
Then I went to school and decided college that maybe I should.
Jill Sabule was a trailblazing American singer-songwriter born on January 16, 1959, in Denver, Colorado. She rose to prominence in the 1990s with her hit single I Kissed a Girl. a gentle, witty folk pop tune that became one of the first mainstream songs to openly explore same-sex attraction. The song reached the U.S. Billboard Top 20 and became an anthem for LGBTQ+ visibility at a time when such themes were rare in popular music. Her other notable hit, Supermodel, featured in the beloved film Clueless, cementing her place in 90s pop culture. Throughout her 3-decade career, Sobule released 12 albums and defied industry expectations, often choosing artistic freedom over commercial success. In 2009, she pioneered fan-funded music with California Years, showing a fierce independence that defined her journey. "There was always a conflict between art and commerce," she once said, "and art always seemed to win." Tragically, Jill Sobule passed away on May 2, 2025, at the age of 66, in a house fire in Minneapolis. Her death was confirmed by her longtime manager, John Porter, who described her as a force of nature and human rights advocate. At the time of her passing, she was preparing for a hometown performance in Denver and promoting the upcoming cast recording of her acclaimed off-Broadway autobiographical musical, F-Key 7th Grade. Sobule left behind a creative legacy of courage, wit, and compassion, a voice for the misfits, the unheard, and the brave.
Someone give me a telephone call, I need to hear a human sound.
Mike Peters was a beloved Welsh rock singer and humanitarian, born on February 25, 1959, in Prestatyn, North Wales. He found fame in the early 1980s as the charismatic frontman of The Alarm, whose anthemic hits like 68 Guns and Strength captured the spirit of a generation. Peters shared the stage with legendary artists such as U2, Bruce Springsteen, and Bob Dylan, but his greatest battle was fought far from the spotlight. First diagnosed with chronic lymphocytic leukemia over 3 decades ago, Peters endured countless treatments, including chemotherapy and experimental therapies. In 2024, just days before launching a 50-date U.S. tour, he was diagnosed with Richter's syndrome, a rare and aggressive form of lymphoma. Yet, even amid worsening illness, he refused to retreat. Supported by his wife Jules and a small team, he continued to perform solo shows between chemotherapy sessions, drawing strength from the overwhelming love of his fans. Tragically, Peters passed away on April 29, 2025, at the age of 66. His death was announced by a representative of Love, Hope, Strength, the cancer charity he co-founded with Jules. The organization helped register over 250,000 potential stem cell donors worldwide through concerts and public campaigns. Mike Peters leaves behind a powerful legacy, one that blends music, courage, and compassion. He is survived by his wife Jules and 2 sons, Dylan and Evan. More than a rock star, Peters was a beacon of resilience whose voice will echo far beyond the stage.
You should consider my track record with underlings like you. Brash young executives that think they own the world.
Lar Park Lincoln was a versatile American actress born on May 12, 1961, in Dallas, Texas. With a career spanning more than 45 years, she left a lasting impression through memorable roles in both horror and drama. She rose to fame as Tina Shepard in Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood, portraying a telekinetic teenager who faced off against the infamous Jason Voorhees. The performance established her as a beloved scream queen of the 1980s. She later captivated audiences as Linda Fairgate on the long-running CBS drama Knots Landing, bringing complexity and fire to a character both loathed and loved. Tragically, Lincoln passed away on April 22, 2025, at the age of 63. Her passing was announced by Actors Audition Studios, the company she founded to mentor aspiring performers. While a specific cause of death was not confirmed, she had publicly battled breast cancer in the years prior. Beyond the screen, Lincoln reinvented herself as a teacher, author, and advocate for young talent. She published a guidebook for actors and became a familiar face on QVC as a celebrity host. Her resilience through personal loss, including the deaths of her husband and several family members, was matched by her unwavering dedication to the craft of acting. She is survived by her 2 children, 4 grandchildren, her sister and brother, and a cherished poodle. Donations in her honor may be made to the SAG-AFTRA Foundation or the Entertainment Community Fund. Lar Park Lincoln's strength, generosity, and artistry remain a guiding light for those she inspired.
Manny and everybody, the crew was really nice, and
Sophie Neiwide was a gifted American actress born in July 2000 in Burlington, Vermont. She began acting at the tender age of 6, landing her first major role in the film Bella. Her breakout came soon after in Mammoth, 2009, where she starred opposite Michelle Williams and Gael Garcia Bernal, followed by a heartfelt performance in An Invisible Sign with Jessica Alba. Though young, Sophie's depth on screen left a lasting impression, capturing the emotional complexity of the characters she portrayed. Tragically, Sophie passed away on April 14, 2025, at the age of 24. Her death was confirmed by the Bennington, Vermont Police Department after she was found unresponsive in a wooded area. Authorities are investigating the case as a potential accidental overdose, with autopsy results pending. A preliminary report also noted she was pregnant at the time of her passing. Behind her early success was a young woman navigating profound personal struggles. According to her family, Sophie found refuge in the arts. Writing, drawing, and acting served as both her sanctuary and her voice. Despite the efforts of loved ones and professionals, the pain she carried quietly became too great. She is remembered not only for her work in film and television, but also for her warmth, creativity, and vulnerability. Sophie is survived by her parents, siblings, and extended family. In lieu of flowers, her family has requested donations to RAIN, honoring her memory through support for survivors of sexual trauma. Sophie Neiwide's story is one of early brilliance and quiet courage. Her light, though brief, remains unforgettable.
Why do I let myself?
Lulu Roman was a beloved American comedian and gospel singer, born Bertha Louise Habel on May 6, 1946, in Dallas, Texas. Abandoned as a child and raised in a Baptist orphanage, she faced a lifetime of obstacles, including health issues, addiction, and incarceration. But it was through these very struggles that she shaped one of the most inspiring comeback stories in entertainment. Roman rose to national fame as a standout cast member on Hee Haw, the country music variety show where her sharp wit and bold personality made her unforgettable. She joined the show from its debut in 1969 and remained a fixture for decades, eventually returning after a brief absence following a drug conviction. That turning point led her to Christianity in 1973, a transformation that reignited her career and gave her voice a new purpose. Reinvented as a gospel singer, Roman recorded over a dozen albums, including collaborations with Dolly Parton and George Jones. She performed at President Reagan's inauguration in 1980 and earned a Dove Award in 1985. In 1999, she was inducted into the Country Gospel Music Hall of Fame. Her memoir, This Is My Story, This Is My Song, published in 2019, detailed a life marked by hardship, redemption, and faith. Tragically, Lulu Roman passed away on April 23, 2025, at the age of 78 in Bellingham, Washington. Her death was confirmed by her son, Damon. She is remembered not only for the joy she brought to millions, but for the strength she found in turning pain into purpose, a legacy that continues to inspire.
Say as little as I could, and then at some point I just thought, Cher, do it or give the money back.
Yeah. Breaking news. How did Cher turn tragedy into triumph? Discover the unbelievable journey behind the goddess of pop's $360 million empire. Do you really know Cher? Not just the glittering icon with Oscar statues and gold records, but the woman behind the voice, wounded, resilient, endlessly reinvented. As dazzling as her public image may be, Cher's true story is one of heartbreak, humiliation, and heroic endurance. This isn't just about stardom, it's about survival. And we invite you, as we remember her legacy, to share your thoughts below. What has Cher meant to your life? She was born Sherilyn Sarkisian on May 20th, 1946, in El Centro, California, a place as humble as the childhood she would endure. Her mother, Georgia Holt, was a struggling actress and occasional singer. Her father, John Sarkisian, was a truck driver and a gambler, absent more often than not. They divorced when Cher was just 10 months old, setting the tone for a childhood defined by instability and longing. Cher's early years were filled with constant upheaval. Her mother remarried multiple times, 7 to be exact, and Cher moved frequently, often living with grandparents or being placed in orphanages when things got tough. At the age of 2, her mother, out of options and out of money, temporarily placed her in a Catholic orphanage. One moment she was eating canned beans in a modest home. The next, she was experiencing flashes of glamour as her mother landed a small acting gig. This emotional whiplash between deprivation and glitter etched itself deep into her psyche. At school, she felt alien. Though beautiful and intelligent, she was dismissed due to poor grades, a byproduct of undiagnosed dyslexia. She later admitted, "I was always thinking about when I'd be famous, where I'd live, what dresses I'd wear. I didn't belong in school." That longing, that vision of escape, became her survival instinct. At 16, Cher dropped out of high school and headed to Los Angeles, alone, barely educated and broke, but unwavering. It was in this city of angels that she met Sonny Bono, a 27-year-old songwriter who recognized something extraordinary in the young girl with haunting eyes and a defiant voice. Their bond quickly deepened, personally and professionally, and it was with Sonny that Cher took her first steps into musical history. In 1965, they released I Got You Babe, a defiant love anthem that knocked the Beatles from the top of the charts. The world fell in love with Sonny and Cher. Their chemistry, both on and off the stage, was magnetic. The Sonny and Cher comedy hour that followed became a national sensation, elevating them from pop singers to television icons. Their blend of humor, harmony, and authenticity captured America's heart. But fame, as always, came with a price. By the late 1960s, musical tastes had shifted. Their folk pop style was suddenly passé, overshadowed by psychedelic rock and protest music. Their record sales dropped. In 1969, Cher was dropped by her label, and their self-funded film, Chastity, flopped disastrously, leaving them in deep debt. Still, they reinvented themselves as a Las Vegas act, mixing comedy and music to stay afloat. Yet, as the spotlight dimmed, the cracks in their marriage widened. Sonny's infidelity became an open secret. Cher once admitted, one woman, or even 5, was not enough for him. Their once loving partnership grew tense, both personally and creatively. Though they remained married for appearances and contracts, by 1974, it was too much. Cher filed for divorce, citing involuntary servitude. She left the marriage virtually penniless, emotionally and financially gutted. Sonny had always handled the money. Cher was left to face the world alone. But that wasn't the end of her struggles. If anything, it was just the beginning. Following the divorce, Cher launched her own TV show. Many doubted she could succeed without Sonny. Even Sonny himself said, "America will hate you." But the opposite happened. Her solo show was a hit, proving her star power had never belonged to anyone but herself. However, the music industry was less forgiving. Her albums throughout the mid-1970s flopped. Star's 1975 stalled at number 153 on the Billboard 200. I'd Rather Believe in You, 1976, failed to chart. So did Cherished, 1977. Her collaborations with then-husband Greg Allman, himself battling heroin addiction, were also commercial failures. The album To the Hard Way was panned, and their relationship, tumultuous from the start, crumbled under the weight of addiction and incompatibility. By the end of the 1970s, Cher's career was in freefall. Warner Brothers dropped her. She was seen as outdated, even mocked. Behind the scenes, she was battling fatigue, heartbreak, and a collapsing sense of identity. She had gone from chart-topping star to tabloid target in less than a decade. She had lost love, credibility, and, perhaps most painfully, her sense of self. She had also begun to feel the personal cost of her fame on her children. Her youngest son, Elijah Blue, would later recount being sent to boarding school at age 7. He described it not as an opportunity, but a kind of abandonment. "When you go to boarding school at 7 years old," he said, "it's kind of hard to feel like you're not being shunned." These emotional wounds lingered between them for years, turning into long periods of estrangement. The guilt, the pressure, the aching attempts to reconcile. It was a battle she would fight quietly, away from the spotlight. But Cher did not disappear. In fact, it was at her lowest that the ember of reinvention began to spark again. She signed with Casablanca Records, a label known for its disco artists, even though Cher never saw herself as part of that world. But she leaned in. In 1979, she released Take Me Home, a glittering, dance-heavy record that marked her re-entry into the charts. The title track became a hit, and just like that, Cher was reborn, this time as a disco diva with rhinestones, attitude, and defiant energy. Still, she wasn't satisfied. Her next move wasn't musical at all, it was cinematic. In the early 1980s, Cher pivoted to acting, a decision many saw as desperate. But she proved them wrong again. Her performance in Silkwood, 1983, alongside Meryl Streep and Kurt Russell, earned her a Golden Globe and an Academy Award nomination. She followed it with Mask, 1985, and Suspect, 1987, delivering critically acclaimed performances that showcased her dramatic depth. Then came Moonstruck. In 1987, she starred as Loretta Castorini, a widowed Italian-American woman who finds unexpected love. It was a role that defined her, not as a singer, not as a celebrity, but as a genuine actress of the highest order. She won the Academy Award for Best Actress. She had gone from Vegas has-been to Oscar winner in less than a decade, and she did it on her own terms. But the challenges didn't stop. While filming The Witches of Eastwick, Cher contracted the Epstein-Barr virus. The illness drained her, physically and mentally, leading to 2 years of lost work and isolation. She developed pneumonia. She had to turn down film roles and restart her career, again, from near zero. "I was really upset about it," she later said. "When I came back, I had to work my way back up from the beginning." This moment was yet another test of Cher's legendary resilience, and once again she endured. In the 1990s, Cher dove into pop music with a fresh angle, electronic dance. In 1998, she released Believe, a thumping, auto-tuned anthem that introduced her to a whole new generation. At 52, she had the #1 song in the world. She became the oldest female artist to top the Billboard Hot 100, shattering industry expectations and ageism with a single word. Do you believe in life after love? The answer clearly was yes. Beyond the spotlight, Cher also faced deeply personal reckonings. Her child with Sonny, Chastity Bono, came out as a lesbian in the 1990s and later transitioned to male, becoming Chaz Bono. Though Cher was long considered a gay icon, her initial reaction was one of confusion and pain. "I didn't go through it that easily," she admitted. "There was a fear of losing the child I loved." But in time, that fear gave way to understanding, and Cher transformed into a passionate advocate for LGBTQ+ rights. "Chaz is so happy now," she later said, "and we get along better than ever." Her youngest son, Elijah Blue, remained more distant. In interviews, he has spoken openly about the emotional gaps between them. He described feeling abandoned, sent off to boarding school, and shut out of his mother's chaotic, high-profile life. Their relationship has fluctuated, sometimes close, other times fractured. Still, beneath the tension is a visible thread of love, pain, and yearning for reconciliation. Cher never denied her mistakes as a parent. She simply continued trying. And that is perhaps the most remarkable thing about Cher. She never stops trying. In her 70s, she returned to the stage for yet another farewell tour, her third, and once again sold out arenas worldwide. She released an ABBA tribute album, starred in Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again, and even launched her own gelato brand. A Broadway musical about her life, The Cher Show, premiered to great fanfare, telling the story of her journey to audiences who may not even have been born when she first rose to fame. As of 2025, Cher's estimated net worth is $360 million. And yet, the real wealth she offers the world is not in dollars, but in dignity. In a culture that often discards women as they age, she stood defiantly, proudly, refusing to fade. She became not only a survivor, but a symbol of reinvention, of grace under fire, of unapologetic individuality. Cher's legacy is one of complexity, courage, and reinvention. She broke every mold, rewrote every expectation, and refused to be anyone but herself. From teenage outcast to Oscar-winning icon, from chart-topping diva to cultural warrior, she has been many things, but never ordinary. She taught us that it's never too late to start over, that survival is strength, that glamour can coexist with grit, and that the most powerful reinvention is the one that comes from within. So what does Cher's journey mean to you? Leave your thoughts and stories in the comments. We'd love to hear how she's inspired you through her music, her words, her battles, and her triumphs. And if this tribute moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for honoring this incredible life with us. See you in the next story.